Haven does many things. I would describe it sort of in three functions. The Haven provides respite care to people who are homeless in extreme poverty, in some form of desperation. It's transformative care to help people move out of their circumstances. And the Haven provides a community greeting, connecting place for many kinds of people.
What do I do at the Haven? Well, I manage the day shelter, and I am the chaplain. Caregiving, because the nature of the shelter being low barrier, meaning that we're open to anyone. Radical hospitality, as I have renamed low barrier.
We're a day shelter for the homeless, so people can come here for showers, for laundry, for breakfast every day, and a place to sit down, a place to sort of take a break and be out of the public eye. So there's a combination of sort of being able to just take care of yourself in this moment for respite, and then also transformation. And when you're ready to make a change, even if it's a small one, we have staff and resources available to help you do that. I think about the world and the way I'd like to impact the world. It really is through making an opportunity and an experience for people to bridge the great divides that exist in our community.
I like the idea that I don't just surround myself with the people who are like me. And something to me about that really speaks to the incarnation. Eugene Peterson's God took on flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. And I think that's really emblematic to the church and how the church should be. I have to deal with the fact that I'm a body in the world and they're a body in the world, to see them as a neighbor.
I decided to get involved at the Haven because it was something brand new starting off in the community when our church was considering ways to get involved. We have three major themes that our church tries to follow: hospitality, restoration, and shalom, or just kind of a fancy word for making things right. And so I think the leadership of the church was finding that this was a perfect way to fit some of those things into the way that we could help out in Charlottesville.
I think particularly because at first it seemed like for our young and just beginning to form community, we wanted to find ways that we could join in with good work in our city. And the question that I want to ask is, how am I supposed to love my neighbors? And because it had to do with food, honestly, we had a strong sense of the vision of the table as a place that Jesus invites us to, invites others to, for us to eat together.
And I thought it would be a good way to spend time with our community, but also outside of our community as well. And I think the Haven is a place that should make us uncomfortable, or make us think about how we're living our lives and how we're defining other.
I think that one of the main issues I've seen in Charlottesville is that there's a lot of barriers between students and the community at large. Specifically, one example is the corner, where you see sometimes people who are homeless panhandling, asking for money, and you see not even a recognition that they exist.
There's a real compulsion to want to be around people who are my neighbors that would be easy for me to miss. People that, left to myself, I might not find myself around.
I think that Jesus lingered in uncomfortable places, whether that was with the women at the well or with tax collectors. And serving at the Haven early in the morning on cold winter mornings is a very tangible reminder of service when it's uncomfortable.
Inevitably, you're going to be with people who are not like you in age, socioeconomic, gender, whatever.
I work at Souls Charlottesville, and part of my job description is to be an artist in residence. And I started asking the question, well, where would Jesus be present in the city? Jesus would want to be present with the poor.
The continuity of being there week after week just begins to break down any hesitation or level of discomfort, because you realize these people are very similar to me, even though their stories might be different and in a lot of ways more difficult. They're just folks that laugh at the same jokes and have the same sports teams as their preference as mine.
I think that music is something that enriches our life. It's part of what it means to have a good life. It's a language of communication that's really important. Myself and a number of other people are getting together to talk about how we might have music as something that happens regularly at the Haven.
You can't just make people, put them into a group and make them have a certain identity. You're actually making eye contact and having conversation and realizing that you do have some common grounds that may have surprised you?
They're very similar to me, and it's not nearly as scary a proposition as I thought it might have been.
I've learned how to cut kale and cabbage efficiently.
I think I've thought of my time there less as me providing a service and more being served by people. Denise, who works in the staff, I feel like I've gotten more tips out of how to cook a decent breakfast from her, so I'm indebted to the Haven.
I'm just as happy to be there playing my own stuff, sort of offering music, as I am to be there empowering other people to share their own music.
Finding myself able to have a place at the table as well. It's not just about what we have to give away, it's how we can be changed and how we can be renewed and restored and find friendship.
I would really describe it as transforming or life-changing. I really caught a vision upon reading a passage in Isaiah 58, just about extending our souls to the hungry and the promises that are associated with that of being like a well-watered garden. And so what we decided to do was talk to the staff down at the Haven, and they had extra produce that they have from their garden. And so we suggested that we could take that produce off of their hands and try to sell it to students, really just for donations for the Haven. We also connected with one of the clients down at the Haven who was a very talented artist, and he has been producing great work but not really having an opportunity to sell to students. Talked with Evan, and he said that he was fine with us setting up a little market outside, and it was a place where students are passing by between classes. It's also been a forum for communication and for relationships to build, and we've seen some people come by every week and just get to know people that they otherwise wouldn't have the chance to know.
To me, that has become a really profound conviction that I would be bound by the space that I'm in. Not just the folks who are extremely poor or homeless, but everybody on the downtown mall.
It's been a way to do the things that I have read about Jesus doing, just being with people that were different than him.
It's putting feet to the things that we say that we believe, and so it's given me a tangible way to actually participate in preparing a place at the table for someone who needs it.
I guess I just really wanted to take God's word for what it said and really be a part of that and help other students be a part of that, and to sort of be able to witness the transformation that would come.